So this is the final session of Go Look Yourself, session 6. So thank you for sticking with it and coming here, and thank you folks online if you're watching this online. The idea today is to bring some of the ideas together. Please come in, yeah. To bring some of these ideas together and to see if there's anything else we can add to those ideas, look at some of the links between them, and give out some certificates for those that would like them to show that what we've done here. Just help bring it all together. So again, let's remind ourselves, if we need to, just about some of these different sessions, so it helps us when we start to think about the links between them. Way back at the beginning, so 10 weeks ago it was, in the first session, we looked at embracing luck, this idea of accepting how much in our lives is influenced, either completely or at least in part, but what I'm describing here as luck. Those kinds of chance encounters, things over which we seemingly have no control, or have little control, often they're unplanned events, those kinds of things. And to me, a big part of the first session was about embracing and accepting how much that is the case. Then the second week, we introduced this idea of a good luck mindset, something we'll talk more about today, just want to explore that in a little bit more depth. And in that context, thinking about it in terms of gratitude, being grateful for the good things that we often don't pay too much attention to, and also cultivating a gently optimistic outlook in terms of our expectations of how things will go. We'll to explore that a little bit more today. We then talked about different ways in which we could notice opportunities, with the suggestion that there are opportunities perhaps around us all the time, the kinds of things we might say, yeah, that was good luck, that happened to be around there at that time. So finding ways in which we can increase our ability to notice them, and that was talking about mindfulness as one way of perhaps cultivating that outlook. And then even thinking of ways in which we can do certain things to create opportunities. That could be taking ourselves outside of our comfort zone, striking up conversations with people we wouldn't normally have conversations with, doing something different. Things that might not necessarily guarantee we're going to have luck experiences, but increase the chances of those things happening. So that was opportunity knocks. We then talked about this idea of going with the flow, which for me at least, I'm one of these people that in the past, going with the flow hasn't always had this positive connotation to it, that it's a very passive way to be. What I was trying to explore is maybe getting that balance between accepting and allowing things to work out the way they're going to work out, and knowing what we can control. So it was talking a little bit about how much we really are in control of things, how much we often perceive we are and perhaps we're not, and also the value of relinquishing control. So that was the go with the flow. And then the last session, this one we cryptically called Sturkers Accidit. So it's all about how we might deal with bad luck. That's an important part of this. It's everything else so far you might feel as though was what do we do to increase the good things to happen to us, and also recognising there are things that happen in life that we would probably rather they didn't happen. And here we looked at how psychology could help us to deal with them, and particularly counterfactual thinking was about imagining how things can sometimes and can often, perhaps always, be worse, and that can be helpful in some situations. And also, when things happen, can we even find meaning in those aspects of misfortune? And some people are able to, perhaps in time, not immediately, see that, well, if that thing hadn't happened, then some of these other things might not have happened. So it helps to deal with bad luck. So that's a reminder of all the sessions so far, and this final session wanting to kind of bring that together, really. So how are we going to do that? Is first of all, I want to raise the possibility that this perhaps isn't the end, that this is part of a cyclical process, that we can go back and look at how these ideas continue to evolve. So don't worry, I'm not asking you to come back in 2 weeks' time and 2 weeks' time again. This is the final session. But maybe in your own thinking is exploring how this might be a cyclical process. So we'll talk briefly about that. That will take us to look at links between the topics. So I'm going to explore some of those links. You may have other ways of linking up again, which is I'm very interested to hear more about. Maybe that's something you're writing about in the Luck Journal. This idea of this good luck mindset, I want to just unpack that a little bit further, just so we're comfortable with what that might mean and how we can use that perhaps to our advantage. Particularly in this concept, what I'm calling here flexible optimism, and what positive psychologists, or some psychologists, have talked about as flexible optimism, ways in which of dealing with both good and bad events. And certificates. So I have some certificates here. So people who've actually come along to the final session, you can take yours away today. I'm sure that's something you've been looking forward to. It's what's kept you going all this time. For those guys who are watching the materials online, I can talk you through what you'll need to do if you want me to either post one to you, which I'm very happy to do, and also you can have an electronic one. There's a couple of things I may ask you to do that allows me to really collate the data, because obviously reminding this is a research project, and I'll talk through all of us what we need to do next. So that's the plan for today's session. So first of all, I want to look at this idea that maybe it's a cyclical process, that it isn't just the end now, and we kind of stop. First of all, one participant did mention that about planting seeds, that maybe these are things that down the line, maybe you'll kind of think, oh, actually that's an idea there that could apply in this situation. But we finished last week with this idea of dealing with bad luck. You know, we kind of, first of all, talked about ways in which psychology could help us with doing something to increase the chances of the positive things happening to us. And then we ended with, you know, making a point of considering how it could also help us deal with these negative events. And I'm then wondering, if we go back to the beginning, which was about embracing luck, is this idea of dealing with bad luck actually a really, really important part of embracing luck? Because embracing luck is about accepting the role that luck plays in life, both good and bad. So it may well be that now we've thought about ways in which we can deal with bad luck that we maybe hadn't considered before, or maybe didn't always consider as much as we could do. Is that an important part of recognising that so much in life is either completely out of our control or is apparently out of control? You know, we have little control over some of those events, that they're things which we didn't plan for, we didn't strive for, and often they're things we wouldn't have wanted to happen, things we might describe as bad luck. Part of dealing with that is accepting that. You know, it takes time sometimes to do that, but that's where we kind of came in with this, in terms of embracing that both the positive event and the negative events in our lives are often influenced by luck. And again, we introduce this idea of luck in inverted commas, because there's a certain aspect of what I'm meaning by luck there. I'm not necessarily talking about the purely random events in life, such as winning a lottery or something which is a completely random process. Often people use the term luck to describe a whole range of events in their lives, some of which we have control over, some of which we don't. So that's one notion now. You make it back to his initial ideas, and maybe that helps us then when the bad luck happens to still think back in terms of the good luck mindset. Can we still have positive expectation of what's going to happen in the future, and so on. So that was one part of it, the idea that it's maybe a cyclical process, and that's something you might want to go away and think about, and hopefully continue thinking about these ideas, even if it's after you give me your luck journal, and I can give you extra copies if you want to just keep your own journal for your own uses. That's absolutely fine.